feel like you work just to pay bills? Like, who invented this rat race? Who decided that we are to spend almost our entire lives working just to pay bills? I am curious to know. If you know, let me know, because it just feels like the same routine over and over and over again. Correct me if I'm wrong. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you rest. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you rest. And you do that for the majority of your life for one purpose, and one purpose, well, maybe several purposes, but one main purpose: to pay bills. So you literally living, is it work to live or live to work? You're living to work, right? Not necessarily working to live. Because, I mean, why can't I just work and spend the money? I mean, I probably could, but then my bills would be like, right? Why can't I work to enjoy the things that I want to do? I just want to travel. I just want to go on vacation. I just want to do that. But my bills are like, and there's some people that have hacked this, that have figured out the formula to not feel like they need to work constantly. And I also kind of feel like, maybe different places, different rules. If you live in America, this is like the norm. It's like most Americans, the average American is a workhorse. Unless you're like, I don't know, you just figured out a way not to work, But if you want to survive, if you want to live a somewhat comfortable life, the average American is a worker. Because you hear people that say, oh, I have 3 jobs. I have 4 jobs. And you're thinking to yourself, when you have 3 jobs, 4 jobs, what's left? How are you living? Like, is this the purpose? Is this what we're here for? Is this why we are here on earth? Are we humans here just to work and pay bills? Is this what it is? Or did somebody just design it that way? And we have all just kind of conformed to the way things are, because I'm pretty sure it's probably by design, right? Because there were times of hunters and gatherers. I probably would have preferred to be a hunter and gatherer because, oh, look, I grow pineapple, you grow oranges, let's trade. And we're just happy. We're just okay. We're fine with the barest minimum. But now it feels like as humans, we just want more and more and more. And when you want more responsibilities, more bills. And the way things are set up, it's like things are set up in a way to automatically just take that money from you. The moment you make some money, something's ready to take it. Something's ready to take it. And it's like, when do you catch a break? When do you actually start doing things for you? If you do something for yourself and you're like very, very, very intentional about doing things for yourself, please let us know. I want to know. If you are somebody that does things for yourself, you work to live, let us know, because I feel like a majority of people live to work. So if you're somebody that has cracked the code and you work to live, let me know. I see people that go on vacations all the time, because that's what they do. I admire them. I'm like, geez, how can I figure that out? Right? I'm working right now. It doesn't feel like I'm working. Because you know what it takes to sit here, get ready. Even if I'm just being candid with y'all, like this is just me being candid. There's a camera that's been set up, right? And that's work. There's gonna be editing done. That's work, even if I enjoy it. So where did we get, how did we get here? When did we get here? How did we get here to the point where everybody lives to work? And you think, oh, you know what, when you reach a certain age, you're gonna retire. Guess what? That's not always the case. And do not tell me those people did not plan that life, right? Because life happens. No matter how much you plan your life, I promise you, just hope and pray life does not happen to you. So I don't like those type of judgments where people go, oh, well, you could have planned your life better. I agree to a certain extent that you could plan, but that does not mean that things don't happen. Okay. There's some people that, you know what, it takes, especially in a place like America, it takes one illness and all your savings gone. Okay. So I don't like those type of like judgments like, oh, they didn't plan their life right. No, And sometimes you can tell yourself, well, I'm going to plan my life a certain way, and things happen. And then you say to yourself, well, I'm going to retire at a certain age. There are some people that you see sometimes when I go to certain stores, you see people in their 80s, darn near 90s, still working, either as security or at the door or things like that. Maybe some of them are just doing it because they don't feel like sitting at home and being bored. But there are actually some people that do it because they need to survive. And you can say, oh, well, you know what, they should have saved, blah, blah, blah. No, because guess what? Cost of living from when they were like super young is different from cost of living now. Okay? So some people will save and go through their savings. And you can say, oh, maybe in the case of people in America, maybe Social Security. Do you know how much Social Security gives you? What is it covering if you're paying X amount for like just, rent or mortgage, whatever it is? So there's so many factors that come into play, but I'm just curious, like, you know what? Why is it that we are living to work, and how do we break that formula? I really want to know. Why is it that we are living to work, and how do we break that formula? How do we break that? What do we need to do? I want to know. If you don't want to know, I want to know, because I feel the pressure as well. Like I feel like sometimes I feel like that is all I do. I call myself a workaholic because I actually enjoy working, but there are days where my body's telling me, uh-uh, no, no, no. And I look at, oh gosh, you know what? Don't want to touch the savings, or I do still need to work. Not everybody has the luxury to say, I'm just not going to work. If you have reached where you have the luxury to say, I'm just not going to work, please share your secret. Don't gatekeep. Gatekeeping, not nice, not nice, not nice. Tell us, what is it that you have done? What are the plans? And maybe, for the future, younger ones, what have you done to not get stuck and caught up in the rat race? Maybe there will be some 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 9-year-old watching and learning from this, because I am very curious to know. And I will be reading comments. I'm going to be reading comments in future videos. I've done some comment reading in past videos, but I will be reading comments in future videos. So please feel free to drop a comment and share about your experiences. I was reading this one guy on social media one time. I know I'm always on social media. Anyway, so this one guy was like, yeah, that he owns his own home, has a great job, but he does not feel fulfilled. Do you know how many people actually hate their jobs? Okay. Now, is it this, again, I feel like maybe I'm speaking from the lens of somebody that, lives in America. Is this an American thing? Because my cousin's girlfriend is Danish, and they have like 4-day work weeks. Hello. I'm like, does she need a roommate? No, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? They actually they care about their mental health, and like just take a break. You don't have to be a worker. So maybe is it an American thing? But then again, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not an American thing, because I've traveled to countries where if you're not up at 4 a.m. hustling or on your way to a hustle, you're not going to eat. You need to hustle to eat. So at what point do we just, say, okay, you know what? Maybe things need to just get cheaper so people can actually live. Maybe things shouldn't be so for profit. Why is one person a trillionaire? They cannot spend $1 trillion in their lifetime. Maybe things need to be affordable for all, not just some. Except things like, little luxury items that maybe they're not necessities. Who cares? I'm talking about necessities, right? A roof over people's heads should be affordable, right? Food in people's mouths. You shouldn't have to break your back just to eat. You shouldn't have to break your back to have a roof over your head. You shouldn't have to decide, should I sleep in my car? Or should I work 5 jobs? Leave my house at 4 a.m. to come back at 11 p.m. to sleep for 2 hours or 3 hours and do it all over again? It shouldn't be that way. And it is that way for a lot of people. Okay. Wherever you're watching this from around the world, I would like to know, what is your country like? If you're in Japan, if you're in Ghana, if you're in Spain, Iceland, Antarctica, is it the same way for you? How is it? Canada, how is it? Do you constantly feel like you have to work just to eat, just to survive, just to live? Or do you feel like you actually can take breaks? Like, you know what? I'm just going to relax because I am not super stressed out because I have to constantly just be grinding. Okay? All right. That is going to be it. I'm grinding right now. If you want to support my channel, go ahead and subscribe my grind. Subscribe to my grind. And don't forget, I have a book of quotes. Check the comment or check my description below. 48 quotes about life. 48 life-changing quotes about life. 48 life-changing quotes about love. Go ahead and download your copy so I don't have to grind so much. So I don't have to keep grinding so much. Support your girl. All right. All right. So that's going to be it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. And don't forget to drop your thoughts. I'm really curious to know because, how can we get out of this rat race? We don't have to wait till we die before we enjoy, should we? Okay. And I think that's not right. There's people that I know that, looked forward to retirement, and right at retirement, they passed on. So they spent their whole life working without fully getting to enjoy just being. Look at Kobe. Kobe retired, and a few years later, he died. It's really sad that he didn't get to enjoy his family the way he wanted to. And I find that super heartbreaking and super sad. All right, y'all. So that's going to be it. If you enjoyed this video, again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. And join me on the next video. Don't forget to check out my shorts. Okay? Peruse my video. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, do not forget to check out my posts. I have polls, quotes, questions for you. Join the community. All right. Have a blessed day. Peace.